Ring a rosy, as the light declines, I'll remember Dublin city in the rare old times.
The end of the year is nearly upon us, and I've one more video to stick up, just a short one on my latest football groundhop in Dublin. I only got 3 down in the League of Ireland this year, at Loan, St Pat's and Shelbourne. I was hoping to see Limerick this year, and now I see they're gone bust. But it looks like the whole league and the FAI with it might also fall apart, which is a joke. Fuck John Delaney and the FAI. Huh? So I did my groundhop last July to see the Reds, aka Shelbourne Football Club, but it's only taken me about 5 months to do my write-up and video. I guess a new addition to the family cuts down on my free time substantially. Anyway, in that time, Shelbourne actually went on to win the First Division and with a promotion to the Irish Premier Division, so we'll see them in the top league in the upcoming 2020 season. Well done to Ian Morris in his first stint as a manager for getting the old club back to its rightful position among the top gods of Irish football. Credit is due to the fact he assembled a very good squad of players, a team that had ex-Dundalk striker Kieran Kilduff, ex-Pats powerhouse Colin Byrne, Ryan Brennan, James English, Carmore and Dean Delaney in between the sticks. It was the makings of a very good team. Anyway, this groundhop was to the north side of Dublin, to Drumcondra, an inner city suburb where the river Tolka and the Royal Canal meet. Drumcondra is home to one of Europe's finest stadiums, Tolka Park, with a capacity of over 82,000 people, and where the GAA, the Gaelic Athletic Association, have their main events, football and hurling. But it was to Tolka Park where I ventured to see one of Ireland's oldest footballing clubs, Shelbourne Football Club. Drumcondra is one of Dublin's oldest inner residential suburbs, and you can still get to see some of the old terrace style houses on show. Also, the Royal Canal hugs this side of the city, and it can be nice on a hot day to walk along the towpaths and get a feel for the north side. But as per usual, my groundhops usually involve me checking out some of the local watering holes, and the north side has many of the city's finest pubs, all a bit rough and ready, but never lacking in Dublin wit and character. Pubs I drank in along the way to Tolka Park included Quinn's, the student-friendly boozer, Patrick McGrath's, where I had a pint of Galway Hooker Pale Ale for the first time, which was fantastic. The Red Parrot, where it had 80s and 90s music on from the TV, the old hits pumping out, which was brilliant. The Hideout, which is nestled down an alleyway into a square with a block of flats, and at the corner there's the bar, so it's not too hard to figure why it's called the Hideout. Where I had 2 bottles of McGardles, breaking my 1 bar 1 pint rule, as it tasted so damn good, served cold, crisp and refreshing. Philip Ryan's, otherwise known as the Hogan Stand pub, with its fantastic pint of Guinness, the best I've had in a good while. The Bridge Tavern, its big fuck off mural of Dublin, GA on the frontage. To Lowry's pub, where Elvis was in the house and the crack was building, and then to Noctur's, a pub with a bit of reputation, shall we say. Straight away we stood out, 2 culty lads in the big smoke, so much so a lot of the clientele thought we were coppers, which is kind of funny. We also had a few jars in the Tolka bar before and after the game, Shelbourne's own bar. It's a football bar with football supporters, not much else really to say. All good, clean fun. Since we were on this side of the Dublin, we decided that it was a shame not to have a quick gander at Dublin's new statue. A Luke Kelly sculpture situated just across the bridge on the edge of Gill Street and Sheriff Street. Luke Kelly was born, of course, in Sheriff Street, and he died quite young, 43, in 1984. He had a very distinctive singing style and was a quintessential Dublin singer, folk musician and social activist, and a hero and all-round Irish legend to many. and was a prominent member of the well-known band, the Dubliners, the Irish traditional specialists, whose versions of Irish classics like The Rock You Rode to Dublin, Seven Drunk Nights, The Town I Loved So Well, and Raglan Road have enthralled millions of people, not just in Ireland but all across the world. A folk singer that will forever be remembered.
In my memory, I will always see the town that I have loved so well, where our school played ball by the gas yard wall, and we laughed through the smoke and the smell, going home in the rain, running up the dark lane, past the jail and down behind the fountain. Those were happy days in so many ways, in the town I loved so well.
Designed by German-born but Dublin-based artist Vera Clute, the sculpture is quite distinctive and definitely stands out, showing a big curly red head and bearded Luke on display for the whole world to see. It's eye-catching, just like Luke Kelly was. That being the point of the sculpture, I guess. It's quite big and it's a fantastic piece of artistic work, getting Kelly's facial expressions down to a T. So hats off to the Vera Clute. It's a sculpture that the people of the Northside can be proud of. But apparently the statue was vandalised for graffiti just a few weeks after its unveiling, but no one knows what this was. But I think perhaps it might be that statue is really not in the heart of Sheriff Street, but just across the bridge on the edge of the area he was from, and nearer to the nicer parts of the town. And when you walk across the bridge, you cannot be in no doubt that you're walking across a social divide. At least that's the impression I got. So it's not so much a gift. So it feels like it's not so much a gift to the local people, but something for the tourists to have a quick look at and then promptly turn right around, at least they venture too close to the centre of Sheriff Street. So that's what it looked like to me, but maybe I'm putting too much into that. Anyway, the graffiti was removed and the statue was fully restored in all its glory by the time we had a look. So Shelbourne Football Club itself, it's one of Ireland's oldest football clubs, founded in 1895, and it's based in Drumcondra. They play at Tolka Park. They play in red and white, and the fans lovingly call them the Reds. They're one of the country's most successful football teams, having won the National League on 13 occasions and the FAI Cup 7 times. But this success brought some problems. Under the direction of the club's majority shareholder and chief executive, the fairly flamboyant Ollie Byrne, the club ran up a huge debt pile, chasing European glory, trying to reach the Champions League, but without quite getting there. And that led to the near breakup of the club, resulted in a ground that they have now, which is pretty derelict, and at the time they lost a decent team and they were demoted to the first division, and with a club heavily in debt. Now it's hard to find exactly how much they owed. I've seen it ranging from 1.7 million to I said at the time 8 million, but I couldn't really find where I seen that, but I seen 6 million in some online newspaper. So officially I think it was 1.7 million, but like any of these things in Ireland, unofficially it probably was five or six times that, because a lot of creditors just walk away with bad debts and just say that they're not going to get their money back. That's it. So they had to sell Tolka Park in 2006, just to tie up some of the debt, and with the help of the FAI and their lovely neighbours Bohemians, there's a proposed new ground here in Dillman Park, which is of course the spiritual home of Irish football. But of course some Shels supporters are not too happy with this ground share idea, because the ground shares in football, apart from one or two places like in Italy maybe, they don't tend to work. I mean, the last one in Ireland, Dublin City with St. Pat's, didn't really work out, and I think Dublin is probably a bit too small for this to happen, but we'll see, let's see. The game I seen was Shelbourne against Cabinteely. It was a good game. Very good crowd at it. I think it was 1,200, over 1,000 anyway. The sun was shining and everybody was in good spirits. Of course, I was standing right beside the chippy, so I was all happy. And lovely football. Two good teams playing on the pitch, and Cabinteely goalkeeper McGuinness pulling off a number of top saves to keep Cabinteely in the game. And overall, it was good fun on another one of my day outs in Dublin. The pints were flowing as usual, the crack was to be had, and the bars and pubs all interesting in their own unique and splendid ways. The game was a cracker, good atmosphere at the ground. Another good time I had in Tolka. I'll miss the old place when and if they do move up the road to Delimont, and I wish them success in the upcoming season. I kind of always have a soft spot for Shelbourne. I had the pleasure of having a short chat with a long-time Shells fan, Hayden, and it was nice to have a chat with him, and you could sense from the chat his passion for the game, which I always love to see. We should always support our own league. Might not be the best, the fanciest or the shiniest in the world, but it's our league, our league, our teams, and it's good fun. Why would you waste money going to see an English team or a Scottish team when it's on your doorstep? It's silly. People say it's rubbish. I'm sure football is rubbish. Most football is rubbish. 90% of the football I see is rubbish. But if I want to be entertained, but you don't go to a football game expecting, that's football is football. Let's see.
So, my name is Hayden Garrity. I've been a Shelbourne fan since 1999. First game we came to was the 9th of August 1999 against Manchester United. Greg Costello scored and we won 1-0. I've been coming home and away every week ever since.
Who brought you to that first game?
My dad and my uncle brought me down. At the time, I was coming to watch United. There's Shelbourne history in my family, but obviously, being a kid at the time, we didn't know that. I came down because I wanted to see Man United. They just won the treble, and little did I know at the time, my dad was bringing me down because he wanted to get me into Spartan Shells. And we came down and sitting in the Riverside stand over there. I don't know what it was, but from the first time we was here, just something about the kit just caught me eye, and I was hooked. The whole place, the kind of atmosphere, the ground, the kit, just I don't know, I can't really put my finger on what it was, but something just kind of caught me eye as a kid at the time, and I was hooked, and I've been hooked ever since.
Excellent. So there is something in those pre-season friendlies then, yeah?
Yeah, there is. Well, I suppose it depends on the opposition. We played Hearts here last week. You probably won't get too many young fellas from Dublin coming down to watch Hearts and getting hooked. But if you get the right opposition in, I know that shower down in Fisborough played Chelsea the other night. Unfortunately, they might get a few fans out of that. You never know.
Yeah. So generally, is it hard to get people at the Tolka Park then? Is it?
I think it depends on how the team's doing. To be honest, I think Irish people in general, when it comes to sport, are very fickle. I think as a nation we find it hard to support a team week in, week out over the course of a 25-35 game season. But as you see tonight, the place is heaving tonight. There's about 1,200 people here, and that's because it's coming towards the business end of the season. Team is doing well, there's something to play for. So I think with a big club like this, a historic club like this, when things are going well on the pitch, people will come.
And all that time you were following them, what was the highlights for you?
I suppose the obvious answer is Deportivo in 2004, or that whole European run. That was unbelievable, and it was a moment that you're proud to be a Shells fan. We played Reykjavik, Hajduk Split, Deportivo and Lille in the Champions League and the UEFA Cup.
It was a dream night for the Irish champions. Champions League tie against one of the top European sides at a sellout Lansdowne Road. Shelbourne weren't there just to make up the numbers. The Dublin club showed their confidence and their ability to compete at this level. It was Deportivo La Coruña's first competitive game of the season. Scoring chances on the night were few and far between for both sides. Crucially though, Shells didn't concede an away goal as the Spanish side left Dublin empty-handed. Perhaps the best opportunity fell to Alan Moore, the former Republic of Ireland international, but his glancing header was just pushed away by the Depor keeper. Overall, it was a performance the team was proud of.
But to be honest with you, my proudest moment was the very first game of the 2007 season. We were champions in 2006, and then we were demoted at the end of the season to the first division. So we were Premier Division champions, but playing in the first division in 2007. And a week before the season, the club hadn't got two pennies to rub together. And a week before the season, it looked like we weren't going to be able to field the team. Dermot Keeley, fair play to him, came in and just brought a bunch of young lads in. I remember being at a meeting down in the bar there, and I was only a teenager at the time. My dad brought me down to this meeting, and I remember Ollie Byrne, God rest him, saying, if we do field the team this season, it could be just a load of lads wearing red jerseys with shells on them, and we could be getting hammered every week. And at that time we were afraid that we wouldn't have a club, so we said, yeah, that's fine. As long as there's a team out on that pitch and they're wearing red jerseys, that's fine. And credit to Dermot Keeley, he came in, brought in a bunch of young fellas, and a week's notice before the start of the season, and we played Kildare County here. We went 2-0 down, and then Darren McKenna scored a last minute equaliser to draw 2-2. And this our previous game was here against Bows, and there was about 7,000 here to win the league. And then we played Kildare County. There was probably about 3,000 here. It was probably the biggest crowd that Kildare County had ever played in front of. And they were so close to beating a bunch of kids that just had shells on their jerseys. And to see a team like that, to see a bunch of young fellas who were playing for the shirt, who weren't just playing for money or whatever, and to see a club that rallied together to keep a club. At that time the club was 112 years old and was very, very close to dying. A lot of other clubs like Cork City, Derry, Limerick, Galway, they all let their clubs die and reformed in difficult circumstances. That didn't happen here, so that I know we went on a bit of a tangent there, but to answer your question, that was my proudest moment supporting Shells.
Yeah. So rivals then, Bohemians, it must be across, not that far away.
Yeah, only maybe a mile and a half. The three biggest rivals are Bows, Rovers and Pats. For me, that's the order. Bows first, Rovers second, Pats third. For some people that would vary. I think some Ola fans and some fans from Ringsend might have Rovers first. Some people who kind of started coming around the mid-90s might have Pats first, but I'd say for the majority of fans, I'd say Bows are probably the main rival.
And the club had about 7 or 8 million debts, and then you have Ollie Byrne.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you want to answer that, or will we skip that one?
No, I'll do my best to answer it. Ollie wasn't perfect. He's probably the main reason that we're in the first division now. But I have to say, in fairness to him, any mistakes he made, he wasn't doing it for personal gain. He was doing it because he was trying to make Shelbourne Football Club be the best that it could be, because he loved Shelbourne Football Club as much as anyone here, if not more. So, did he make mistakes? Absolutely yes. He made mistakes that almost killed the club, and I have no problem saying that. But the reason he did it was because he had such ambition for this football club. He wanted this football club to be at the top table of European football.
But I'm sure I will find fans tonight that will have an opposite viewpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. I'd say you wouldn't even have to ask that many people. He's definitely a controversial figure around here. There's some people who won't have a bad word said about him, and there's some people who will only say bad words about him. I think the reality is somewhere in the middle. I think he definitely did things that could have killed this football club, but he was doing it for the right reasons.
And that leads on to the new going into the new ground share with Bohemians Football Club.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, looking on the outside, I like Shelbourne. I love the setup you have here. I always enjoy myself coming here. It's a club that people are buzzing all the time here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think if you go to Delymount, it's just like two clubs in Dublin. Friday, Saturday night. I don't know. I honestly don't think it's going to work.
I agree with you. As far as I'm concerned, if we do go to Dalymount, the club will most likely be out of senior football within 50 years, and that's probably being optimistic. The reason Dalymount is being developed and not Tolka is because Bow spent the last 10 years lobbying Dublin City Council and the FAI and all the relevant bodies. Bow's got that house in order a long time before we did, and they were lobbying to get their ground and their history preserved. Meanwhile, we were kind of scrambling about, going from year to year with no real long-term plan. And I still think if we had have bothered to look for alternatives, they would have been there. I don't want to dwell on it too long because it's a subject that gets me angry, but
Could it work?
No. Could it work? No. The concept of ground sharing, I'm not completely opposed to, but it's the location that's the problem. Bows have been in that area for over 100 years. Like, Shelbourne are never going to attract fans in Phibsborough, Cabra, Stony Batter, that area. It's just not going to happen.
So where do you think that the Shells could go, maybe?
I don't know, to be honest.
There's nothing wrong with here, maybe, if they develop it, maybe.
Yeah, I think, well, Dublin City Council own this ground now. That was, the deal was that you mentioned the 8 million debt earlier. Dublin City Council took over this ground and cleared our debt in the process. I think Dublin City Council probably could be open to redeveloping this on a smaller scale and maybe knocking down a stand or two for housing. I don't know, but I think until you explore those options, like I don't think it does justice to this football club to just say, oh well, Dalymount's the only option. That's the end of it. I think we owe it to the 125 years of this club to explore other options.
And anybody coming to see Shelbourne play from first time, how would you describe just coming off the road and just walking into this club? What should they expect and what's it like here?
For me, it just gets in on you. It's just an addiction. It's I think no matter what's going on in your life, you could be either losing your job, or you could have a bereavement, or you could be either breaking up with your missus or whatever. And when you come down here and the Reds score a goal, for 10 seconds that doesn't matter. Nothing else in your life matters for that 10 seconds after a goal goes in, and that's just there's no way to describe that other than that it's a drug. You have to keep coming back for more, and it's an addiction.
So are you positive about the future then? Sorry.
I don't know, to be honest. If the move down the road happens, then there is no future. But if something can be arranged in the meantime, whether it's to stay here or to move to a greenfield site or whatever, then this football club has massive potential. The only club in this country that has won more trophies is Rovers. So there's absolutely massive potential in this football club. But it's the people who are running the football club now have a duty, not just a responsibility, but a duty to make sure this football club stays alive and thrives. And if we move to Dalymount, that won't happen.
And just before we finish, if anybody wants to follow, is there a supporters club that is for Shelbourne, or is there anybody that we can follow online?
There's no kind of official supporters club. There's the official club Twitter page is @Shells FC. The official Facebook page is Shelbourne Football Club. Instagram is @Shells FC as well. And then there's some other unofficial pages as well. There's a Shells fans group on Facebook. There's the We're Not Barcelona page. There's a lot of channels online that they can follow the club. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Hayden.
I
know the game is on now.
Yeah, grand.